гоу. Они как два сапога пара. Один левый, другой правый.
Господа, как я и обещал, у нас в эфире снова гость, человек, которого зовут Джастин Брэннан, это Councilman 47-го дистрикта, который находится у нас здесь. Тут немножко поменялись карты, поэтому кто является активным избирателем, должен посмотреть, к какому округу он будет относиться на выборах в этом году. Также он является у нас лидером финансового комитета.
Возглавляет
его, да. Welcome, Justin.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, I just give like introduction in Russian so people can understand, who you are.
Sure.
But why you are here, we're going to ask you. Well, I know that it's election circle. Another one. Unfortunately, people doesn't, care about the councilman election.
They should.
They should.
I often say that your local elected official has more of an effect on your daily life than the president. It's just the truth, right? Your day-to-day life, you leave your house, you bring your kid to school, you go to work. We have more control over that reality than the president. So it's important to care about local elections and what you see that you want to be improved in your neighborhood. That you go to your local elected officials to help with that, right? So, but unfortunately, it's hard. It's hard enough to get people to vote, but for the elections that everyone goes and votes for president.
Especially it's not 2024, it's 2023.
Well, right. It's an off year, right? People also, because of redistricting this year where they changed the maps, I just ran. So I just won re-election 2 years ago, and now I'm already running again. Usually we have a 4-year term. So now it's split. So they're making us run again. And with nothing else on the top of the ticket, it's hard. So you have to get the word out to get people to vote. My thing is just, look, obviously I want people to vote for me, but I want people to vote. I want people to be involved. I want people to make their voice heard. People have a lot of concerns or complaints about how they want to make the city better. The only way you fix that, it's not by posting online and complaining. It's by getting out and voting for people that you feel reflect your values, voting for people that you feel are going to get things done. But it's hard because people don't care about local elections, and they should care about local elections possibly more than they care about, at least in the city of New York, right? They should care about local elections. They really should.
Well, it's a great message for the people who want to do the changes, like in their city. Since the remap of your district, how dramatically it changed?
It changed I still have about 60% of my current district. I grew up in Bay Ridge. I've represented Bay Ridge since 2018 when I got elected. Now they created a new district, a new Asian majority district. So they carved out a part of my district and they've connected me now to Coney Island. So Coney Island will be a whole new territory for me. Not as, I grew up going to the beach at Coney Island. I have friends in Coney Island. But as a representative representing Coney Island. So it's important now not only to remind the voters that already know me in Bay Ridge that there's an election coming, but also to introduce myself to folks living in Coney Island.
That's challenge, right?
Sure, yeah. And that's what I'm doing now.
So some people, have like mixed feeling about the Coney Island area, like how safe they are over there, like how they, for being there, to raise the kids over there. How you feel about it?
Look, I think everybody deserves to live in dignity and be treated with respect, and everyone deserves to feel safe. I think what you and I were talking about earlier is that the crime stats that came out recently that shows that things are heading in the right direction, which is great. But people need to feel safe, right? I think we spend too much time talking about statistics and data, and no victim of a crime or no witness to a crime wants to hear about data and statistics, right? I can tell you murders are down and robberies are down, but if you don't feel safe, then none of that stuff matters, right?
Especially when we have an attraction like Coney Island Amusement.
Sure. And look, and what I think about is Coney Island becomes a place that the whole world descends on for 2 or 3 months a year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I need to care about Coney Island for the other 9 months a year. The people that live in Coney Island in February, the people that live there in December, right, when it's freezing cold and no one's on the boardwalk.
Right.
Those are the people I need to care about. Of course, we like the tourists. They spend money. They stimulate the economy. That's great. We want people to invest money in Coney Island. That's fantastic. But the people I care about are the ones that live there 12 months a year, all year round. I need to make sure that they're They feel represented. They feel that someone's fighting for them. And that's a problem. Look, I think overall in our part of Brooklyn, southern Brooklyn, I often say the further away you are from City Hall, the less people feel like they care, right? You always hear about what's happening in Manhattan. They're spending all this money to fix things in Manhattan, making investments in Manhattan. What about the outer boroughs? Not just Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, the Bronx. I often say that Manhattan is the engine, right, for the economic engine for the city.
For the whole country, right?
Right. But the fuel for that engine lives in the outer boroughs. We all go. If the people from Brooklyn and Queens and Bronx and Staten Island didn't go to work in Manhattan, there would be no Manhattan. So it's important for me that the further away you are from City Hall, that you feel someone is fighting for you, and that you're not fighting over crumbs. I want the full loaf of bread. I don't want just crumbs. I think doesn't matter if we're far away from City Hall. Doesn't matter if Seagate feels like it's a million miles from City Hall. They deserve the same treatment that rich people in Manhattan get. And that's my job, is to fight to make them feel like someone is fighting for them. We might not always win, but we're always going to try to fight for them.
Justin, let me ask you about Coney Island. What do you think about establishing boat taxi, like from Far Rockaway to the city? We don't have it here.
So I brought the ferry to Bay Ridge, and I just brought an express ferry to Bay Ridge. So now you can get from Bay Ridge to Manhattan in less than 20 minutes.
Right.
There's no other way you can do this.
Right.
Coney Island needs the same thing.
Right.
There's no reason why we can't figure out a way to put the ferry on the ocean side, not on the creek side, because it doesn't work.
Right.
Put it on the ocean side. Get people to Coney in the summer. Tax money, it's money for the city. And the rest, like I talk about the other 9 months a year, you get people that can commute.
Right.
Look, we all know taking the train around here, it takes an hour and a half to get in.
Sometimes, right. And trains are
it shouldn't be.
Grumbling,
right? So it just makes sense to have a ferry there. And where there's a will, there's a way. We can get it done. If you show the city that building the ferry is going to bring you a certain amount of revenue.
Don't they understand that? But it's self-understood, I think, no?
You would think that sometimes common sense isn't so common, and you have to make that case for people. So the ferry, my record in bringing the ferry to Bay Ridge, bringing express ferry to Bay Ridge, now I want to do that in Coney Island. My thing is that I don't want anyone who lives in Coney Island or Bay Ridge or anywhere to go to another neighborhood and say, how come we can't have that here?
Yeah, obviously.
They should have everything here, right? People pay enough taxes here.
It's a shame.
They work hard. They shouldn't say, oh, I went to this other neighborhood and the parks there are so nice. I don't want to hear that. For me, that's a failure. If someone says that to me, I feel like I failed. I want to make sure that wherever they go, they say, wow, my neighborhood is so nice. Like they don't have what we have, right? Because you want to raise everybody up. And I think that's always been my focus as an elected official.
Well, just let me mention your name once again. You know, there's Justin Brannan. He has the election November 7th.
Yep.
That year, that's a local. The people who's going to be in power, in charge, you know, like what's going on in your area. So please put the note in your calendar. That's November 7th. That's election day.
Don't
you should
forget.
Go and vote. And
one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
About that paid entrance to the city and tolls. Okay, what can be done?
I don't know what we have to fight it. I mean,
How can
it's very hard. I think, look, congestion pricing, the conversation that we had before COVID.
I'm sorry, that comes from the
state.
How can they impose on us such a thing?
That it comes from the state. It's not from the city. The city doesn't have control over it. It's a state thing. Yeah, it's tough. The state. One thing you realize when you're a city elected official is how much power the state has over the city. The city is just a creature of the state. So they're like, Big Brother, and they come and they tell us what to do. Look, congestion pricing, the argument, I think, there's two different realities. We were just talking about Manhattan, right? There's two different realities in Manhattan before COVID and after COVID. I think the discussion around congestion pricing before COVID, it's a different story. After COVID, where we're still trying to bring the city back, we're still trying to get people back to work, we're still trying to stimulate the economy, it should be, if anything, it should be paused until we get things back. Because right now, there's some parts of Manhattan, there's tumbleweed, there's no one there.
That's true.
So what are we charging people when it's a different, it's not.
And besides that, residents of New York City should have a completely different price tag.
Well, especially for people making deliveries or Uber drivers. If I'm an Uber driver, I'm a taxi driver. I don't decide where I go. my passenger decides where I go, right? So I have to pay now every time I go. I'm just going where you tell me to go, right? I mean,
And New Jersey going to fight it also.
they are.
So you have always natural
Absolutely.
hours, right?
And it's kind of like, again, I'm not against the idea, but
I'm against the idea because I live in that city. I should not pay for the entrance to different part.
agreed.
Of it.
And I also look, but also is that if they're saying that congestion pricing is going to raise money to make the subways and the buses better.
Oh,
great,
no.
Great. But you and I both know what's going to happen.
It never
They're going to have the tax, and we're still going to be sitting on the D train like this. Like
Yeah, and a sick passenger, and you stay 1 hour.
so
That's it,
it's
right.
not. It's one thing if it's like, oh, we have congestion pricing, and now the trains are great and they're so fast. It's not.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And then it just becomes another tax on people,
Right.
on working people, on delivery workers, on Uber drivers, taxi drivers. This is not what we want. But the Manhattan is a very different place than it was before COVID. So to think about it in a way like it's hustling and
Let's
I wish.
postpone it for a couple of years.
Yeah, and
Let's start from that.
Let's revisit
Right.
it then. If Manhattan is hustling and bustling like it was in 2018, all right,
97, 98.
totally
right.
different. It's
Right.
just, and you see it with your own eyes. Anyone that goes to Manhattan, if I go to Manhattan to go to City Hall every day, I see it. It's not like it was. We're trying, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet.
Well, we lost a lot of rich people, who was paying high taxes, like
It's
in
just a
Manhattan.
people also said, you know what, I can do my job. COVID showed people I could do my job. Everyone that always thought, oh, maybe I could do my job on a laptop in the beach. COVID gave them the opportunity to see if they could, and they left.
Companies don't they don't want it. They want people back in offices.
Of course. Or they're trying to figure out a way to make it work both ways, right?
Right.
Because they want to keep their employees. But if another company is saying, no, you could come work for us and come to the office 1 day a week, you're going to leave. Right. We need these people. We need that tax base. We need people working in the city.
Well, the taxes, went up, dramatically, the recent year, basically all the bills, skyrocketing right now.
People are getting squeezed from every which way.
Yeah, that's what they feel, because, of the bad management of the New York, we lost rich people who was paying and the cover, a lot of the taxes. And now they try, from the middle class, squeeze that tax money.
Can't. Yeah.
That's how they feel right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I think the working class and the people trying to get to the middle class and the middle class always feel squeezed because they feel like they become the ATM machine. When times are tough, they're gonna try to balance the budget on their backs. And my thinking is, I want to show people a return on their investment as a taxpayer. So if people in my district, everyone feels like they're paying their fair share of taxes, I want to show them we're building new parks. We're building new playgrounds. We're building new schools. We're bringing money back to the community to at least show people this is what your this is what your taxes go to, right? At the very least, if I don't, it's another thing with the state. If I don't have the power to lower your taxes, at the very least, I'm going to show you what some of those tax dollars are actually going to. You have to feel a tangible return on that investment. Otherwise, people just feel like they're paying taxes and
they're going to leave.
they don't see anything getting
They're
better.
already leaving
They're going to
the
go to a
numbers.
different state where there's less taxes. We don't want that. We want to keep people here. But you have to invest in the things that make New York City is not going to be the greatest city in the world on its own. You have to keep investing in it to make it that place. Otherwise, people are going to wander and they're going to go somewhere else. We don't want that.
And you just mentioned the schools, how you feel about the situation in the schools right now, and if there is anything can be changed.
I think the Department of Education budget is colossal, right? It's north of $30 billion.
It's some countries
Yeah,
with that budget
easily,
for a year,
easily.
right?
But people don't feel that the money is going to the classrooms. They feel like it's going to other things. It's going to paperwork, bureaucrats, that kind of stuff. It's not going to the classroom. And I think that's what parents want to see, right? I went to both. I went to public school and I went to private school. I see both sides. I get it. Bottom line is parents want to feel like, again, they're paying taxes. They want to feel like when they send their kid to school, they're getting a great education. The school looks good. The teachers have what they need. For me, a very important thing for me is art and music education in schools. So they're not just learning about math and science and biology. They're learning about art and culture and all that. We've invested money there. We're doing everything we can to give people a well-rounded education. It's the same thing when we talk about crime. People need to feel a certain way. I want our public schools to be world-class. But in order to do that, you got to make sure that more of that money is actually going to the kids in the classroom. And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, I mentioned several times, that story from my life, like I would say like 15 years ago when you were like showing, like in any other state, the driver license from New York. The people was like jealous. Oh, you live in New York. That's great. Right now, they feel like oh, what is going on in your life? Yeah. Why you can't just leave, New York? Like, are you so poor you can't leave that city?
Yeah, look, it's not. Nobody wants that, right? Like I said, we want New York City to remain the place that you dream about going to, the place that you dream about. One day maybe I could live in New York and work in New York. That's what we want. But it doesn't happen by accident. You need everybody constantly working towards keeping it that way. And I think if we sit back and we say, oh, New York is so great, let everyone... No, people are going to go elsewhere. They're going to go find other cities that might be less expensive, more affordable, less taxes, whatever it is. It's on us to keep working towards it. It's on the politicians to keep working towards that. We can't just sit back and think... I often say, if you see that other cities or other countries are doing things better... we shouldn't be afraid to steal those ideas and do them here. We can't just think, oh, New York is so great. We know everything. We can't learn. No one can tell us anything. That's nonsense. You have to learn. If another city is doing something creatively, just steal their idea and do it here. Like, we need to make this the place where we've got all the best ideas, the best minds, everything. That's what keeps New York City, New York City. I don't want people to say that. People say, what's going on in New York? And it's like, you don't want to have to defend it. You want to say, everything's great. Come check it out.
Well, unfortunately, we're trying to bring on the table, with the politician, the local politician, and this story, like, okay, that's a problem. That's the issue we have right here. They're like, okay, the other state even worse, or the other countries even worse, like,
no one wants to hear that. No one.
I know where the worst, like, just show me, where the bad, like, what we can do, to make it better.
That doesn't help, right? If you tell me, oh, today I had a bad day, and I go, oh yeah, well, this guy had a worse day. That's not what people want to hear.
Right.
That's at least from politicians, like,
no, all the time. Oh, you think you got it bad? Look at these guys. That's not the answer. You can't deny. I think a lot of politicians, they deny people's reality. If you tell me you're experiencing something, it's not my job to tell you you're not experiencing what
right.
If you tell me I took the train today, I didn't feel safe. It's not my job to say, oh, you're an idiot. You have no reason. I need to say why. Why don't you? Let's talk about it. How do we fix it? How do we fix problems? Too many times politicians, they don't understand. People have problems. We all have problems. We all have challenges. Politicians, sometimes they want to attack the people with the problem instead of attacking the problem. If you come to me with a problem, my job is to say, okay, let me find a way to fix that. Not let me dismiss you and go, oh, you're an idiot. I don't know why you feel that way. A lot of people do that, and it's wrong. And that's why that's why people don't vote, because they think politicians don't care. Politicians only care about themselves. That's why. If I'm constantly telling you, oh, you're an idiot because you feel like that, you're going to go, forget it. Why am I going to vote? Forget it. So it's on us as politicians to make people believe that we're actually out there fighting for you, and it's hard. It's hard.
And what about I'll put those two topics, like in the same basket, like illegal immigrants and the homeless people, because that's what it looks like, like we care about the illegal immigrants right now more than we care about the homeless people, and basically some of those homeless people, they are U.S. citizens.
So what the issue we have now with the asylum seekers, undocumented immigrants, or just asylum seekers is separate from undocumented immigrants. The issue we're having is that we can't handle this on our own. New York City...
That's a federal thing.
It's a federal thing. We cannot handle this. We're required to handle this, but we can't afford to handle it.
Let them pay that.
That's the problem. And we're not getting we're not getting enough help from the state and the federal government. I think the city is doing the best job it can to people want to come to New York because the opportunity, and it's still New York.
It's a tsunami.
But we can't afford it. And you can't get to a situation where people feel this way, where they feel like we care more about people that are coming here as asylum seekers than we do homeless folks or just regular working New Yorkers, whatever. But we can't do it on our own. And part of the reason why this budget was so hard was because we had about $4 billion that we had to account for to help support the migrant costs. And I like to say the crisis isn't the migrants the crisis isn't the asylum seekers coming. The crisis is we can't pay for it on our own. If we had support from the federal government and the state, and we had immigration reform, and we had actual people trying to and giving people a lot of the asylum seekers that come here. They want to work. They don't want to get paid. They don't want to live in a hotel.
They don't want benefits.
They want to say, I came to New York City for a better life. You don't even know what I went through to get here. I don't want to live in a hotel. I want to go work. I want to start my family. I want to bring my family over here. I want to support myself. If we can't get these folks work permits, then we're just constantly going to be paying for them. Nobody wants that. The asylum seekers don't want it. We don't want it because that's not why immigrants have made this city what it is. Immigrants built this city, but they want to come here and work. Just the way that my parents, when they came here from Italy and Ireland, they came here with nothing and they were able to work. That is really the key. If we can't get these folks the work permits so that they can work now, this is never going to end because it's a cycle where we're just warehousing people. Nobody wants that, and it's sucking us dry with money that we should be allocating to other areas, and people are rightfully upset about that.
All right, so once again, November 7th, that's election day. Mark it in your calendar. Justin Brannan was here with us, and let's say if the election is going to be tomorrow, the few words you would address, to voters.
Sure. I mean, look, my thing is this. I'm a proud Democrat. But the job is public service. If you come to me with a problem, I don't care if you voted for me or not. I don't care if you're I don't care. My job is to help you and help your family. And I'm a type of person where if you ask me where I stand on something on Monday, you don't have to ask me again on Thursday. I still stand in the same place. You know where I stand. I believe what I believe, and my job is to help people. I've done, I think, a great job bringing back money into Bay Ridge. I want to do the same thing for Coney Island. I want to invest in Coney Island. I want people to feel proud to live in Southern Brooklyn, to live in Coney Island. And I hope that you'll give me a shot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Justin Brannan,
Thank
Election Day, November 7, 2023. Do not forget, if you forget, do not blame, somebody else.
We will remind you.
Will be in office. Thank you.